Welcome to the Biz Gone Social podcast. We help entrepreneurs navigate how to get known, get customers, and get the edge over their competition. Here is your host, Lorraine Duncan.
So here we are on the Biz Gone Social podcast, and I am so glad to be here. And my promise to you, as always, is I want to give you a little bit of verbal caffeine that's going to energize your business and boost your social media marketing and help you stay social. Because after all, don't you want to be the business everyone's talking about? I know I do. And I am really so excited to have today Monica Leggett. And Monica, welcome.
Thank you. I'm so happy to be here.
And so tell me, Monica, what do you do? What kind of business do you have? And who do you help?
Okay. Well, I am a life and business coach. Some also a little bit of relationship systems coaching. So couples or people who work together, teams. And as a coach, I basically help people identify goals that are important to them and sort of help get through the obstacles. We have a lot of internal obstacles that keep us from doing things, procrastinating or feeling overwhelmed or whatever. So I kind of help deal with that and create a plan for how they want to achieve whatever those goals are. So I call myself a goal accelerator.
A goal accelerator. So are you a big fan of SMART goals?
Of course. But I've also realized that there's a step before SMART goals. And that's really figuring out the bigger picture outcome that you want. So yes, I will lose 10 pounds in 5 weeks. That would be a SMART goal. But I want to be healthier. So I like to find out what's the bigger goal beyond that thing. And then the SMART goals are what sort of support the bigger outcomes that you want.
Yeah, absolutely. I think too, a lot of times I've set these big, gigantic goals and I knew the reason why. Mm-hmm. But the problem is that I do it now because I've mastered this, I think, but I never used to write down, have steps how I was going to do it. It's like, oh yeah, well, the measurement, for instance, would be I lost 10 pounds.
Right.
But what do I have to do to get there? And
right.
I think also it's I'm sure you would agree that breaking it down into smaller steps helps get to that goal that you ultimately want to achieve.
Right. Absolutely. I like to have not just smaller steps, but little things you can celebrate along the way. I got this part done, or I've reached that mini goal within my big goal, or even that I just made those 5 phone calls that I said I was going to do. Any little things that we can celebrate kind of gives us more gas in the engine.
I have a question for you. So it's the end of the year now. And so I'm sure that with a lot of your clients, you'll be going over, goals and, maybe New Year's resolutions. What's your take on New Year's resolutions? And let me explain why I asked that question.
Sure.
I frequent a gym, and at the gym, I never go to the gym now in January at all. I do not go because it's so crowded because all these people we're going to work out. And then by mid-February, early March, the gym is empty.
Right.
And so what are your thoughts on that? And do you work with people a lot with their goals and help them achieve them?
Well, yeah. And the bigger thing to do before you set New Year's resolutions, I think, is to do a good reflection of the year. So this is the time of year I'm doing this with my clients where we, what were your wins for the year? What really energized you? What drained you? And do you never absolutely ever want to do again? Or, what were your challenges and what did you learn from that? So I like to do more of that first. And, if you could snap your fingers and have something that, money and time were no object, what would you want? Those are kind of fun goals too. But then you can look at goals as what are some incompletes? What did you get started this year that you want to keep it going, or you want to maintain, or you want to do the second half of, or, to take your business social media. Maybe you've really mastered Instagram and now you want to get a better LinkedIn profile and start using that more, or whatever. So I don't like to just pie in the sky kind of goals. I want them to have meaning.
Yeah. And, I think too, it's like sometimes I've noticed that I work on my stuff for next year, usually in September, but because I was traveling, what I did is I just recently did everything the first week of December. So I'm a little bit late on everything. But what I noticed was when I was reviewing my year is that there were some things that have been on every year that I haven't done. And I'm almost thinking that, what, either there's this thing, do it, delegate it, or dump it. And I'm almost thinking that, what, there's this one goal that I had that, it doesn't even serve me anymore. Right. So I'm just going to dump it. And once I got to that point, because I was holding on to something, I wrote it down 5 years ago, I'm doing it. Well, you know what? It's okay. And I give myself permission to dump it. I'm sure, I'm sure you find a lot of clients that have done, have similar things than I did. And I'm sure you've had some similar things too.
Right. I actually have another version of it. It's called address, delegate, or dismiss. So
I love it.
ADD. So you can look at it as like, I'm ADD. Or ADHD, everybody wants to call it. I can't decide on certain things, or I have too many things going on, so address it, delegate it or dismiss it. But yeah, letting go is one of the best, skills you can learn, because our life changes, and something we thought we really wanted a year ago might be moot at this point, or it may have morphed a little bit. So, it's the reasoning behind dumping it that's more important than dismissing or dumping it. It's like, does it really not serve me anymore? Or am I giving up on something that I really should try? Maybe I just need to break it down and figure out the first little part of it and see if it's worth it,
Yeah, no, that's a good point. I was just thinking about, you being a coach, and I know you're an author and you're a speaker, and you have a program out there called the 8 Steps of Action Cycle. And I would love to hear a little bit more about that, because I'm sure that it would intrigue my audience.
Sure. Well, when you have good intentions, or when something comes to your attention that there's a should, or there's I wish, or there's something that's aggravating you that needs taken care of. And it could be like a couple of years back, I had let my newsletter go for like 3 years. And it was this nagging should. So the first step is awareness. I'm aware that this thing is bothering me. I want to address it. It's important to me, whatever. And then also awareness is knowing your personality type and knowing the parts of you, like I'm a big avoider procrastinator. So am I just really avoiding and procrastinating around this? Is it, or, do I have time to do it? And if I really do, then the second step is accepting. So if I accept the responsibility to do it, or accept that I'm going to take care of it, or accept that this is reality, I just don't have time in my day, writing is not my thing, I'm going to let it go. So accepting is deciding yes or no, like, am I going to do it? It's also accepting you can't change other people. You can't make someone else solve your problems. So it's ownership, right? And then the third step is really about deepening that mindset. The just do it, or the I will do it one step at a time, or this is important to me. Some sort of uplifting, higher level thinking around it. And then you assess what your options are. You create a plan, then you get into action. And that's 6 steps. And I used to consider this a 6-step plan, but I realize the more I talk about it, we start things all the time, but we don't finish them. So completion is an actual step. And what do I need to complete something, right? You've done this big project, and then everything ends up on your office floor and you don't put stuff away. You haven't really completed. You haven't done that follow-up thing, or those thank you notes, or whatever it is to finish. And then reflection is the last step. So if you have, like when I restarted my newsletter, my reflection was, hey, this wasn't really that hard. I'm committing to like maybe an hour to have a theme, to have a thought, to put together something. Maybe I'm finding a link to go with it. I also reflected on the fact that I have a friend and actually a client who helps edit my stuff, and she's like my accountability partner. So reflection is like, how do I do my best job? I know I need accountability. I know I need another person, or at least someone. I'm going to tell other people that I'm going to do something. And then reflection kind of leads right back to, let's say I have lost those infamous 10 pounds I wanted to lose. Reflection is where you decide, well, now, how did I do that? And how can I maintain it? So reflection is it's evaluating, it's celebrating, yay, I did it. And then it's deciding whether or not there's something you want to maintain. And how did you grow? What did I learn about myself? Yeah.
Yeah, I think one of my mottos has always been, I call one of my superpowers that I have is I'm a master implementer. That doesn't mean that I never procrastinate. Like usually my procrastination comes when there's a task I have to do and it's hard. And of course, I keep on saying it's hard, so it makes it harder.
Right. There's the mindset. Yeah.
But I had a mentor just recently, actually, who said that there's, just take a first step. There's no first step. You're not going to basically you're not going to lose your birthday if you do this action, and I have found that, there really isn't any first step mistakes, because really you're either it's great, it's a big hit, or you need to tweak it a little bit, or it didn't work at all and you did it, so now it doesn't work, instead of having it haunting you. So I think that that's the whole problem with, like, especially being in business for yourself, and I'm going to switch gears a little bit here, is that taking action is a really important step for any business owner. And so I want to switch gears here, because we always, you've been in business for yourself, I think, for what? I think over 20,
almost 15 years. Yeah. My first coaching class was in 2006. And then I coached myself right into this big life transition. And then 2007-8 is when I finished my coach training. So, so quite a long time.
Yeah. And so, what is the thing that you like the most about being in business for yourself?
Well, I am a free spirit. I need my freedom, and I love the flexibility I have. I just spent 4 days in Virginia with my daughter, my grandkids, and my husband had a stomach bug, and we ended up coming back a day later. I just worked from there. I brought my computer. I had a couple of Zoom sessions. I had some reading to do, and I could do my job kind of anywhere. And I love that I have clients all over. I have a client in Colorado. I have somebody in Rochester. I had a client in Australia, actually 2 in Australia recently. So I love the flexibility.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So I have a lot of people here that are on this call that may be thinking of starting their own business. And we always hear the glamour of it, all the things that are great about it. What would you say, especially today, what is one of the biggest challenges of doing business in 2022, 2023?
Yeah. I would say having confidence in what you, especially if it's a service like coaching, where you are selling yourself as opposed to selling a product. I think confidence and really appreciating your value is one of the biggest things that I've seen clients have to overcome. I have a lot of entrepreneur clients, and as their confidence builds and they know they get their voice and they really can appreciate what they're offering people, I think things start to manifest a lot faster then. Being really clear about what you want to offer and why. I think whys are important too.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
This has been great. I want to leave our audience with one piece of advice that you could give. If it was anything, it could be regard to like mindset. It could be in regards to, owning your own business. What would that one piece of advice be?
I would have to say it's something about being proactive. Like, you can't just wait for things to happen. You have to You have to pursue them yourself. And if you are struggling, then be proactively seeking some help, someone like you or I who can help you get in the right direction or set the foundations that you need, or, but don't just sit and wait.
And I would assume that would, because there was one other question I did want to ask you, and it was, a lot of people out there always say to me, I'm stuck. I just can't get through this. I just can't do it. And you said to be proactive, but what really is the step into when you're stuck to get unstuck? What would you say?
Well, okay. So the book that I'm working on is called Doubtful to Decisive. And the biggest shift in there, and then, subtitle is 8 Steps to Get Unstuck and Maximize Results. So when you are feeling stuck, you are not in your best mindset. You can't solve a problem from a place of being stuck. So one of the first things you need to do is take some slow, deep breaths, calm your system down, say some positive affirmations or something that helps you to sort of get in a better mindset. It's like that. If there was one thing I could do, just one little thing, what might it be? Oh, I could write a list, I suppose, or I could talk to so-and-so. Any client I've ever talked to who's feeling stuck, there's always one thing that they can think of. So do a little self-soothing, a little self-care, get in a better mindset, and then just ask yourself, what is that one thing I could do right now that would make just a little bit of a difference?
Absolutely. That's great advice. I think one of the things that I heard this too, both of us being in the space at one point, of course, in my life, where in the coaching space, I heard one mentor say, simply just begin again. Sometimes, that really does help. It's like, okay, or moving forward, just one, it's like taking that one step that whatever that is. Always helped me. It's always got me. Like, it was just like I was having writer's block a couple weeks ago. And I do a lot of writing. I put out a lot of content out there, and I'm like, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? And so I was coached in just start writing one sentence a day.
Yeah.
Literally I did. And it just kind of boom. And then all of a sudden I took a break, and sometimes you have to take a break. Sometimes you just have to walk away from it.
Yes.
And now I feel a little bit energized to do some more writing. So it always,
and sometimes even just reading someone else's, like, be inspired. I used to do, the Daily Calm, the Calm app. And I used to listen to the 10-minute morning Daily Calm and then journal. And my journaling, like, I should probably go back. There's probably 100 blogs in there. But, I was just inspired by my thoughts, in 10 minutes of meditation.
Yeah, no, that's great. Well, this has been fun. I want to give you a chance just to say if there's, if anybody resonated with you, basically tell a little bit of how they can get in touch with you. And, if you have anything that you want to offer as far as something that's coming up that you want to tell someone about or whatever, just feel free to do that.
Yeah, sure. Well, my business is New Steps Life Coaching, so you can find me at newstepslifecoaching.com. There is a place for you to sign up for my newsletter or reach out to me. I have a workshop coming up January 5th, I think it is Thursday. I'm going to do a couple of year-end review, kind of leading into how do I want 2023 to shape up. So they can certainly sign up for that. And reach out if there's anything they need, if they want a complimentary consultation or just find out more of what I do. That would be a great way. Check my website.
That's awesome. And thank you again. I really appreciate you being on my show. And everyone out there, until next week, I will see you soon. Have a great week.
Thanks for listening to the Biz Gone Social podcast. Find us on Instagram at Biz Gone Social for extra tips. Check back weekly for new episodes. Until next time, stay social.